Childish, oh shit. Last time I checked, I was still a kid. Childish, childish. This all freaks me out a bit. Childish, oh shit. How can I parent when I'm still a kid? Childish, oh shit. Who the hell decided I was ready for this?
Hey! Greg Fitzsimmons here from Venice Beach, California.
Allison Rosen here, representing Burbank. And yes, there was a slight stutter when we started, but we're so au naturel and organic, we're just going to keep rolling with it.
You don't even have makeup on. That's how all natural you are.
That's right, but when they look at the photo from this episode, magically I will have makeup on.
Huh. What do you put on? Like a base and a little rouge and some lipstick?
Well, Greg, I'm glad you asked. I have many different looks. There's my just bare minimum day makeup, which would be like filling in my eyebrows and just some light, like maybe lip gloss. But then there's my TV makeup, and then there's my Zoom makeup. And they're just very
What's Zoom makeup?
Zoom makeup is a full eye, and then light foundation, and then lip gloss. It's the whole works, but maybe I don't spend as much time on the foundation as I would somewhere else. What about you? What do you do?
I wash I shower every like 2 to 3 days, and I'll wash my face maybe once in between the showers. I have this Aveeno moisturizer that I use after I wash my face. And other than that, it's amazing how it all comes together.
And
I also use the sun to bake wrinkles into my face.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yes. I use just the aging process to grow these gray highlights that I've been sporting.
I was wondering how you got those. And I also used alcohol in my teens and 20s to grow a kind of a bulbous red Irish nose.
I did not wear sunscreen for many years, and that is how I have achieved the brown splotches on my face, which I'm trying to fade.
I had a bad temper, got into a lot of fights, and so this fake tooth here, this scar here, and that there, I had done by some professional fighters.
I overplucked my eyebrows back when we were all doing that, and they did not grow back. So that's how I have achieved these chisel thin, no longer in fashion eyebrows.
I have used the aging process as well to generate, I didn't even plant them, but hairs started coming out of my nose.
I wondered if those were extensions.
They're just, it was very simple. A couple seeds, there they are. I don't know if it's hereditary or a fluke or what, but I was blessed with one long hair that grows from underneath my chin that periodically I'll pluck, but it's majestic and it's natural. I have used the vitamin D and the ultraviolet rays of the sun to transform my neck. I was going for Turkey.
Yeah.
And I ended up with Turkey, who's a burn victim.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, but also, wow.
Yeah, it's like you heard about the, for some people, they deep fry a turkey.
Yeah.
For Thanksgiving. That's what mine turned out to go with.
I like it because it's a nod to a seasonal celebratory thing.
Year round.
You sport it year round. I had 2 children.
Yeah.
So that has really given me a lot of features on my body that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
And people are like, who did you pay for that? And I'm like, no, it's natural. Like just general sagginess, extra blubber, probably some skin tags in places that I can't see.
Yeah.
And
a weak pelvic floor, which you'll always have.
Oh my God. I mean, I think I might even, I don't have to pay someone to give me a prolapse. I lately think that I have one.
Yeah.
I might have one. And it's like, do you know? Because insurance won't cover it.
They don't cover it. No, they consider it plastic surgery when it really shouldn't be. A prolapse pelvic floor. That's, a woman needs that.
Yeah.
I think it's good that we're doing this because people might think that we're born like this. And so it's good that we explain, our process.
I think that when you see an old person, their bodies and faces really do tell a story. You know what I mean? Like my
cautionary tale.
I had a great aunt who had a blackhead in the middle of her face, and she lived to be like 100, and she just never popped it, and it just got really big, and it just sat there. And every time you talked to her, all you wanted to do is reach in and pop that fucking blackhead. She had the most porcelain, beautiful skin. Like, really?
Except for this humongous thing?
Blackhead. Oh, my God.
I don't know her, and I'm having trouble picturing it, and I find myself wanting to pop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Owen has a little bit of cradle cap right now. Do you know what that is?
Sure.
And Daniel keeps picking at it, and I'm like I like to pick at my own stuff, and also your great aunt's blackhead.
Right.
But I don't pick at my children. I'm like, Daniel, stop doing that. You're irritating it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're orangutans, we groom.
We really are. So how are you, Greg Fitzsimmons?
I'm good. I have kind of good news. I mean, I could have used this as a high, but I'll use it as a conversation starter, top of the show. My daughter is going to go to her prom. They decided to have a prom at her high school.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So it'll be outdoors, socially distanced. They'll wear masks, but they'll be able to go. She bought a dress. She went to, there's some site where you can buy like vintage clothing, and she bought a vintage gown, and it's being shipped.
Could she be any cooler? I feel like your daughter is so cool. She's the kind of girl who would have excluded me. No offense to your daughter. I'm sure she's inclusive, but still.
She would have hung out with you for sure. Especially if you... Did you have the band in high school?
No,
then
but I
maybe
was
not.
into music.
Okay.
I had a car with Alice in Chains, Smashing Pumpkins, and Grateful Dead stickers on it.
What kind of car was it?
An old Honda Accord.
That's a neutral car. You can't hate that.
No. What's to hate?
There's nothing to hate.
Yeah. So she's going to her prom.
So she's going to her prom. The problem is, because it's social distance and all that stuff, her boyfriend graduated from the same high school, but he graduated last year. And their policy is that you have to be a student to go to the prom. And so she is negotiating with the student guidance counselor to try to get him in.
Do you think it's going to work?
I don't think so. I think that it's a big school, and if they make an exception, then they got to let everybody in.
Right.
So, but she's cool with it. She's like, I'll still go with my friends. Who'd you go to the prom with? Who was your date?
I went with I did not go to my own prom.
Really?
Yeah, no, I went. So one of my best friends was this guy, Trevor, who I'm still friends with. He officiated at Daniel and my wedding.
Yeah.
And he had moved to Colorado, and he invited me to his prom. So I went to his prom, which was the same weekend as my prom, but I was fine with that.
Why wouldn't you go to your own prom instead of his?
Well, I didn't have a boyfriend. And he was my good friend who had moved away. You mean like, why didn't he come out and go to mine? I don't know.
Well,
an adventure.
So you didn't know anybody at that prom except for him?
That is correct.
Did you have fun? Tell me about the night.
Well, my memories of the night are my feet hurt really bad.
Yeah.
And
it's so unfair that girls have to wear those fucking shoes
so
on prom night. It's not cool.
Yeah. So after we went to the prom, we went on like a horse-drawn carriage ride. And I just remember sitting in the horse-drawn carriage and being like, oh, thank God I'm not on my feet in these heels anymore.
Yeah.
And I remember his friend like took me out on the dance floor and spun me around, and my hand caught on his boutonniere pin, and I remember being like, so that was a fun memory. Being impaled on his pin.
Uh-huh.
And then afterwards, we went to some, like the cool kids go to hotels and drink and have sex.
Yeah.
And the rest of the kids go to a school and parent sanctioned after hours
Right.
held at a high school. And it was at, what is the name of the high school where there was the shooting?
Littleton.
Littleton.
Yeah, Littleton.
Yes. But the name of the actual high school, I'm blank. Columbine. I think it was at Columbine.
Yeah.
Because I remember when that story broke, I was like, I went to prom like right by there. So we went there, and I have very little memories of that, except I was very tired.
And there was nothing romantic. It was just a friendship.
We were just friends. Yeah, we were just friends.
Sounds like a romantic night for two friends, a carriage ride. Jesus.
I know. Well, it was 4 of us in the carriage ride. It was me,
all right.
it was Trevor, it was his friend with the stabby boutonniere pin, and his friend's date. And his friends, I wonder if that woman, if the friend's date lives in California now, because the whole night it was just questions about California. She like definitely had glamorized California. And I remember her being like, I mean, look at you, even you, from living in California, you have like a sun-kissed glow. And I remember thinking, no, I've been laying out every day for like 3 weeks straight to get this sun-kissed glow. You don't even know. What was your prom like?
Yeah.
I feel like I might know a little bit about it.
Well, I wasn't very social with the kids at my I went to a small private high school that was about 25 minutes away from my town of Tarrytown. And so my social life was really in Tarrytown. I would come home from school and hang out with my friends, and the weekends I never, ever went to Rye. So the prom, I felt kind of like, I'll go, but I wasn't like, I never dated a girl from my private high school, not once. I think I might have kissed one girl in 4 years. It was like that. And so I brought this girl. I kind of wanted to blow them away. So I asked my friend Jeanette to go with me, and she was voted prettiest girl at the high school in Tarrytown. And a great chick, and like just a party pal. Like she partied hard. She was from the projects, and she was fucking gorgeous. And she did acid and coke, everything. And so for the prom, I got an 8-ball of blow, and we got a limo, and it was me and my buddy Frank. And he had this date who was kind of like a very straight-laced Italian girl from a Catholic school. I don't know why he brought her. It was just a bad fit, because me and Frank did a lot of blow in our day in high school. And so it was clearly going to be that kind of night. And so the limo doesn't show up. We go to the prom at the wherever the prom was held.
Right.
It was kind of lame. And our limo to take us into the city didn't show up. So Frank goes home and borrows his mom's Cadillac. And so the 4 of us, and we've just got bottles, flasks, and I just booked a Cameo as we're speaking.
Nice.
And so we drive in. We go to Danceteria, which was this 3-story discotheque in New York.
Yes, I've heard of that.
It was like Studio 54. And so we went in there, and we danced like fools, drank like idiots, and we had already done. And it closed at like 5 a.m. So now it's like 5 a.m. And we're like out of coke, and we're driving home, and we pick up a 6-pack for the ride. And then all of a sudden, and we're kind of like, after you do coke all night, you're kind of like you're crashing, and all you want is more. And we're like, fuck. And then all of a sudden, I like pulled the car over to the shoulder of the West Side Highway, and I went and I dove under the accelerator of the car. I had put an 8-ball is 3.5 grams, and I had put a 0.5 gram under the accelerator, and I pulled it out. And we sat right there and we chopped it up. I had an Allman Brothers album in the back of the car. Chopped it up, did it, went to Rockwood, watched the sunrise.
Wait, had you forgotten that you put it under there?
I forgot.
Oh, wow! What a fun memory.
Yeah. So then we went to Rockwood and we watched the sunrise. And I came home at like 11 a.m. and I walked in, and my mother said to me when I woke up that night and came downstairs, she said she asked me how prom was, and I just looked at her. And she said, "Did you have a good time?" And I just looked at her, and then I turned and I walked away, and I went upstairs. I was done.
Yeah. Wait, did the girl who wasn't wild and fast and loose like you guys, did she keep up all night?
I don't think she did drugs, and I think they had some fun, but I think it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake on Frank's part.
And so you did not have sex, though?
No, it was just friends.
Did you feel guilt over your drug use? Because when I dabbled in pot, not really, but like anything harder, I felt immense guilt. And like, I felt like I was like the scum of the earth.
Really?
Yeah, because I had been brought up with DARE and with very overprotective parents. And I was convinced that the first time you do cocaine, you're risking a heart attack, which I think, I don't know. Like, I'm sure that does happen. I think it's very rare though. But I was just like, I am like gambling with my life. What am I doing? I don't know. I really beat myself up for any sort of experimenting with illegal drugs.
No, I think I was always really excited to try stuff. I was wary. Like, I never took acid. That always spooked me. But I did a lot of mescaline and mushrooms and blow and downers and black beauties and all that stuff. What's a black beauty? It's just speed.
So wait, you've never done acid?
Never done acid.
I've also never done acid. So curious about it though, but as I've said, I feel my window closed, although who knows?
Who knows? I'm ready to do a major mushroom trip because I feel like I got to reset my brain a little bit.
Like is that a pandemic feeling? Post-pandemic feeling?
I think so. Yeah.
Did you have anti-drug education in school, like whether it was branded DARE or not? Because periodically we would have what they called an assembly where we would all, get together in the gym, and then there would be an outside speaker, and it was always some older, I don't know, early 20s, late teen, who would tell you about, I just remember hearing about, they put acid on the back of stamps and then they try to give it to kids and all these horror stories.
No, I think you're a little younger than me, and I think that just started with you. And with
Probably.
me, we had a teacher named Mrs. Globerman, who was platinum blonde with a tan, pointy nose, and she drove a Mercedes convertible. She was kind of hot.
She was hot.
Yeah,
I
she was
tell
hot
from your story. Yeah.
Yeah, and so she knew that we were high in class. This was in 7th grade, and she knew we were high all the time. We used to get high at lunch every day. And we had our class after lunch. So we must have smelled like pot. The whole room must have smelled like pot because it was like 4 of us that all got high together. And then she said she made us come after school and she sat us down and she had like a drug talk with us. And she said, that pot is going to lead to cocaine and it's going to lead to acid and other things. And we were like, laughing afterwards, and we were like, that's so ridiculous. We're not going to do cocaine. We're not going to do acid. 2 years later, we're fucking doing cocaine and acid. I wanted to go back and go, hey, you were right. You were right, Mrs. Globerman. How did you know?
I know. Yeah. I remember being strung out, for lack of a better word, I had gone to South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, and I got into a cab and the driver was coughing and he's like, oh, excuse me, I'm dying. And I thought I just remember the rest of the car feeling really sad for him. Like, oh my God, I wonder what he has. And how sad he's spending his remaining time driving a cab.
Oh, it's almost as sad as that Jim Croce song, or is it Harry Chapin, the cab driver who's like, hey, she was gonna be an actress, and I was gonna learn to fly. She wound up in the movies, and I just something got high. And it's about how he wasted his whole life, and now he's just a fucking drug addicted cab driver.
Yeah. Well, I was just the drug-addicted passenger taking everything literally.
Yeah.
Greg, I said on the last episode that we were going to read a couple Apple Podcast reviews on this one.
Oh, Jesus.
I know you hate it. It makes you uncomfortable. But we must let all the listeners know we appreciate your comments.
The comments are very sweet.
Please keep them coming.
I like to read them myself.
You just don't like to hear them read out loud.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. Only one is positive. The other one is negative, but it's only negative toward me.
Oh.
So don't worry. Okay, Randy, this one The headline is Randy K, and I'm not sure I understand that, but it says fave podcast. Allison and Greg are fantastic together. 5 stars. However, not everyone feels so charitable towards us. And this one, the hashtag is justice. This is a 1-star review. The problem with this show is Allison Rosen. She is one of those people who, like a trained seal, happily honks out anti-First Amendment gems like, you can say whatever you want, but watch what happens if you do. I'm so glad this progressive hack got a taste of what she advocates for when she was attacked in her mother's group. Maybe now you'll wake up, parentheses, probably not, but this is what people talk about when they refer to the snake eating its tail. Enjoy.
Wow.
Yeah. I appreciate the notion of me honking out stuff like a seal. Excellent wordplay, my friend.
Wait, now, are you a seal or are you a snake? Because you're a snake consuming its tail as well.
I'm both seal and snake.
Yeah.
I don't think that is what the snake eating its tail means, really, but, you know, we're not going to be strict here. Here's the thing, my friend. Thank you for your review and your just off the cuff remarks. We do prefer 5 stars, but I appreciate a comment regardless. The First Amendment just covers government. Doesn't cover, it doesn't cover business. So, in your face.
What are you saying? The First Amendment is freedom of speech only regarding the government?
No, meaning you can't be arrested for what you said.
Right.
But to say, and I don't think I honked this out, but it's conceivable I did, but you can say whatever you want, but watch what happens if you do. I don't think I said that. But on the off chance that I did, he's saying that's an anti-First Amendment gem. And I'm saying, no, that's actually totally in line with the First Amendment.
Well, it's amazing how many people have become like, political scientists in this country over the last 8 years. Everybody quotes political theory, from John Locke to fucking, what's her name, who, Ayn Rand. And their understanding of it is usually so limited. And so it's such a waste of time to engage. And it's amazing to me, Allison, we get hundreds of good reviews. And you picked the one, thousands of good reviews.
I like to show the range.
Uh-huh.
I like to show
But I only let you read these notes once every 4 shows. You read 2 of them, and one of them is calling you a honking snaky seal.
I know, but I find it entertaining. I don't want to encourage the negativity, but sometimes I find it entertaining.
I think you do. I think you gravitate towards it.
I probably do.
Yeah. You know what I gravitate towards?
What?
The news.
I love when we gravitate toward the news.
Time for the news.
Greg, did you know? And I found this a little bit upsetting. Less than 1/3 of parents say they'd let their child get the COVID-19 vaccine right away, a survey found. So this was the Kaiser Family Foundation COVID-19 vaccine monitor data. It was a study that was published recently. And in the U.S., 29% of parents of children under age 18 said they would get their kid vaccinated right away as soon as they were eligible. 32% said they would wait to see how the vaccine is working. And the remaining parents said that their child would be vaccinated only if the school requires it. 15% said that. And 19% said they definitely wouldn't be vaccinated. And the Pfizer vaccine next week could be rolled out for kids ages 12 to 15. So that is going to happen. They're going to expand the eligibility for that. And that could happen as early as by the week that you're hearing this episode. So,
I mean, look, people, there's politics, there's spin, and there's science. And if the scientists are telling you that it's safe, it's vetted. This isn't fucking Bill Nye the Science Guy sitting on, in a makeshift lab with beakers that are a part of a TV set. This is like fucking studies. And I know it hasn't been a long time, but, we are not going to get rid of this fucking virus. This is not going to go away until we get on board as a society and say, yeah, one person died from the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and we got rid of it. One fucking person out of about 3 million. I think
they brought it back.
I know, but I mean, it's crazy how safe the scientists are. They don't fuck around.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, given the reactions, the expected side effects from the vaccine, of course, my kids are younger than the eligibility at this point for the vaccine. I look forward to when it is available for all ages. That being said, I was thinking, well, I imagine they might feel pretty sick from it. And I could imagine feeling like I don't want to subject them to that. When we also know that in children, coronavirus seems to be pretty mild. So I imagine, unless people are or they distrust it, because I trust the vaccine wholly. So let's say, arguing for people who do trust it, I imagine that would be the math of like, do I want to make my child feel sick over something that if they get it, they're probably going to be fine. But here's why you need to get the vaccine. And I'm sure the guy who called me a honking snaky seal is not going to appreciate my partisan hackery with the way that I believe in science. But we need to be inoculated against the vaccine because every time it takes up residence in a person and then is spread to another person, it's offering it a chance for it to mutate. Like, we need to make it so it can't keep spreading and mutating, because
the vaccination
eventually we're going to get a variant that we are not protected against.
Right, which they're seeing in other countries.
Right.
So it's like a firewall. When your child gets vaccinated, they are no longer going to go to school, pick it up, and give it to your parents when they visit. It is just something that we all need to do. We need to wear fucking masks in crowds. That's it. Just in crowds, in stores. You don't have to wear it walking down the street anymore. And you got to get vaccinated. And let's do that. And let's move on. Let's get back to normal. It's just going to drag out otherwise.
So here's a question. Daniel washed his vaccine card, and he's trying to get another one.
You're supposed to take a picture of it on your phone.
I know. So he seems extra. Usually I'm the one who's anxious about things that are not an immediate concern, but he's sort of agitated about not having the vaccine card. And I was like, what is it that you're worried about? And he's worried about businesses making a rule that you have to show your vaccine card to be allowed inside. And I said, I don't really think that would happen. I think that businesses might try, but I feel like the pushback would be so intense that they wouldn't actually be able to do it. And he's like, no, I've heard that some might. What do you think? Do you think that is going to happen?
Yeah, I think it will happen. I think schools should do it. I think schools should.
I'm in favor of it. I just don't know that businesses actually will be able to do it.
It is a scary notion. I mean, it is a little Orwellian to have like some kind of a card to do things. But I think with schools, we should do it. We do it for other vaccinations in school. And I think this should be one that's required.
Yes.
Boy, we're going to get a lot of mail this week.
We really are. But we're ready for it. Send your poison pen notes to childishpod@gmail.com. You could also call them in. 805-317-4243. You have a story, yes?
Also, you can write into honkysnailsnake@gmail.com.
That's right. Did you call me a honky snail snake?
I meant seal. I said
it's okay.
snail instead of seal.
It's all right.
I'm a mess today. I feel a little out of it. I took some Ritalin earlier today, and I think it's crashing down around me right now.
Oh no.
How's my energy seem?
Maybe like a tick lower than normal.
Okay, I'm gonna take it up a notch.
Okay. What's your story?
My story is there's a woman named Lavinia Munga who had no idea a baby was coming when she went into labor on a flight from her home in Utah to Honolulu last week. Quote, I just didn't know I was pregnant. And then this guy came out of nowhere.
The baby?
Yeah. He arrived He arrived at just 29 weeks into the pregnancy. What's normal? 40?
40. That's alarming if a baby is born that young on an airplane, I imagine.
Yeah. So apparently, Dr. Dale Glenn, who is a physician, along with Lonnie Bamfield and Amanda Bleeding and Mimi Ho, were all neonatal intensive care unit nurses, were all on the plane.
That is so lucky.
And so they helped her have the baby. So she went ahead and named the baby Glenn.
Glenn Ho? Wow. And the baby's fine, though, as far as
How
you
the
know?
fuck do you not know you're pregnant? How do you not know you're 29 weeks pregnant? How big was this woman?
There's a lot of things to wonder about this. I'm just still stuck on the fact that, like, because normally in a hospital, if you have a 29-week-old baby, they are rushing that thing to the NICU and hooking it up to everything. And I mean, that's amazing. That's so lucky that there were NICU nurses on the plane.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions, like the discomfort she was feeling, the weight gain.
I'm looking at a picture of her right now, and she's
period.
thick, but she's not obese. And she looks like she's what's that race? Tongan?
Sure.
I'm gonna get in
I don't
trouble.
actually know. I don't know what the correct term is.
From Tonga.
Right. I'm just
Tongan?
saying I don't know if it's Tonganese or Tongan.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad everything worked out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you wouldn't know you're pregnant, but you hear those stories.
I mean, people get annoyed enough when you bring a baby on the flight and the baby's crying.
Right.
Never mind delivering one. I mean, that's noisy. That's a fucking ordeal.
Yes. Not even the baby, just the pregnant lady moaning. Have you ever been on a Go ahead.
You think they put her in the aisle on the floor?
Yes.
They must
Yes.
have, right?
Yeah, and other people probably had to vacate their seats. And if you had like just fallen asleep, imagine how annoyed you just fallen asleep, or you were like watching Panic Room or something and you're super into it. Imagine how pissed you'd be.
Not to mention, good luck getting the beverage cart up the aisle when there's a lady spread eagle pushing a baby out.
You're right. And what if you really needed your tiny cup of coffee?
I need tomato juice. I only
you're
drink
screwed.
tomato juice on planes, and I want it.
Do you think that they would interrupt beverage service for this, or would they actually make her get back in her seat? They might.
I think that she should have to get back in her seat. I mean, I can't think of a dirtier place than the aisle of a plane. There's no sheets. They didn't have any sheets. I don't know what they used.
Try to think what they could use. Those shitty blankets. Sorry, all the airlines.
Right.
Yeah.
Those have no germs in them.
No, and like someone's in-flight pillow, they probably shoved under her pelvis. Greg, have you ever been on a flight when there's been a medical emergency?
Yes.
What happened?
I was flying back from South Africa to go to the porn awards. I was hosting them. And I was with my family, and my family stayed another week in South Africa. I left early. It was like a 3-week trip, and I left after 2 because my wife's brother lives in South Africa. And so she drove me to the airport. And
you hate him? That's why you left?
No, I wanted to host the porn awards.
I know.
And so we get to the airport, and I go, who do you think is more likely to catch AIDS this weekend? Which really is not politically correct. It was not a funny joke.
No, there was a woman who was canceled for a similar kind of joke.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't think I can be canceled. I don't think I'm big enough. I think it'll never be me. I'll never get Me Too'd because it's more like me who?
Right. Yeah, there's really security in your anonymity.
I've crawled my way to the middle, and that's exactly where I want to stay, Allison Rosen.
How perfect for you.
Yeah. You say as the co-host of a podcast that we're trying to get bigger.
How perfect for you, your lack of aspiration, your desire to stay just right under the radar.
Yeah.
So wait, but what happened on the plane?
So we were flying, and then we had to do an emergency landing in Ghana, which is like one of the poorest places in the world. But this guy was having an epileptic seizure that wouldn't end. He just kept having one after the other. And they have a rule on the plane, after the third seizure, they land the plane. So we land the plane, and this guy is fucking out of it. I mean, he's gone. And so we land in Ghana. It's the middle of the night, and then these two guys get on the plane with a stretcher, and it's like green olive drab canvas stretcher with wooden poles,
right?
And one of the guys is wearing an AC/DC t-shirt. And they put this guy on it, and they carry him off the plane. And I'm just looking at this guy going like, dude, you don't have a shot in hell.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Sorry.
Did they seem like medical professionals in any way?
Nope. No, they seemed like they were probably going to take him hostage. If he were to recover, he was going to become a hostage.
Did he have any family?
And he seemed like he was alone. I don't remember anybody else getting off the plane.
That sucks.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, if you're listening, if you happen to make it and you're listening, please write in or call us and let us know how it turned out for you.
Yeah, that would have been in 2005.
So he's had many years to process that experience.
Yeah.
Listen, Greg.
Yeah.
You know something that I feel confident in, unlike the outcome of the story that you just told, something where the outcome is for sure going to be great, is Sunday lawn care.
Oh my God.
So good, right?
I love it.
See your lawn thrive this spring with your own custom lawn care plan from Sunday. It's more than just a lawn care product. It's a custom lawn care plan. Take out all the guesswork and unwanted chemicals so you can grow a beautiful lawn that's better for people, pets, and the planet. So it's super easy. You go to their website, you fill in some stuff. They pull up info about where you live based on your address and like the soil condition. And then they send you some stuff, and then you send them a sample of your soil to like dial it in even further. I scooped mine up with a tablespoon because I do not own a shovel. And consider this, someone who doesn't own a shovel, you'd think, well, that person, they don't know what they're doing gardening wise. And that's true. However, even I was able to administer the Sunday lawn care product on my lawn. You just hook it to your hose, spray it. All of a sudden you have a beautiful lawn. You guys should do it. Let Sunday take the guesswork out of growing a greener, more beautiful lawn this spring. Visit getsunday.com/childish to get $20 off your custom lawn plan at checkout. That's $20 off your custom lawn plan at getsunday.com/childish. Again, that's getsunday.com/childish.
Let me ask you something, Allison, off topic. Do you have life insurance? And does Daniel have life insurance?
No, we don't. We need to get it. It's just, it seems like such a hassle. I don't know how to do it.
I cannot believe that you don't have life insurance.
I know,
It is
it's
like
irresponsible.
literally of every bill I pay every month, it's the one I feel the least resentment over paying, because I feel like, my dad died young and he left a life insurance policy that took care of my mom for the rest of her life. She got her through a very tough spot. And you know what? It's not very expensive, especially when you go through Policy Genius. They compare quotes from over a dozen top insurers all in one place. You save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policy Genius. You could save $1,300 or more per year on life insurance using Policy Genius to compare policies. So the thing is, like, Policy Genius, they're your guy. They're your agent. They are not in bed with any of the insurance companies. So you can trust them to navigate it. The other great thing is, stuff always goes wrong. There's always an issue. You're missing this or this wasn't filled. They deal with that. They deal with the headaches, the nightmares. Yeah. Your sign-up process is so simple. It's given Policy Genius a 5-star rating across thousands of reviews on Trustpilot and Google. You go to policygenius.com and you work out how much coverage you need. You compare personalized quotes to find your best price. When you're ready to apply, the Policy Genius team will handle the paperwork and scheduling for free. They never sell your information to other companies, and they don't add on extra fees. This is all, they get the deal. They get paid from the insurance company, so you're not paying anything, and you're getting all these benefits. So why not do it now? Go to policygenius.com, get started. Policy Genius. When it comes to insurance, it's nice to get it right.
I'm going to do it.
I can't believe you don't have life insurance. That's crazy.
I know. Maybe I don't value myself enough. No, I know. We need to do it.
It's not about valuing yourself. It's about valuing your children. I mean, look, if you die, Daniel will not be able to work as much as he's working right now. He's going to need to get a nanny, and hot ones are expensive.
I hear what you're saying. We totally need to do it.
Okay, do it.
We need to do it. Should we do some highs and lows?
Yes, I'm excited about my highs, so I'm going to start.
Okay.
Highs and lows.
Cinco de Mayo was last week. We should, full disclosure, we recorded this podcast a little bit early this time because, I don't know, you couldn't do it early next week, or I couldn't do it. Whatever.
I couldn't do it because we're going to Disneyland.
Hey now.
Yeah. It's my birthday, and I've decided that I want to go to Disneyland for my birthday.
Really?
And we're taking Elliot, and it's more for him than me, but
What about the O-Man? It's a waste, isn't it?
O-Man would be free. But we decided I don't think he would appreciate it.
He's too young. He's too young.
It would make it harder, and it would be wasted on him.
Yeah. So what are you going to do with him?
We have a babysitter who's going to watch him.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm pretty excited.
I'm looking forward to your high on the next episode, or your low.
Right.
It's going to either be your high or your low.
I mean, it's only at 25% capacity. Doesn't that sound? It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Unless there's something I'm not realizing about how it's going to work. But
didn't we have a whole discussion about you not getting a discount ticket?
Yes. We went a few days before Elliot's.
Oh, that's right.
Or no, was it a few days after Elliot's 3rd birthday?
Yeah.
And it's like, and Daniel wanted to be honest and pay for him. And you were angry at Daniel over that.
I was very angry with Daniel about that.
I know.
Yeah.
And again, this time, it's like you're self-reporting. But now he's 4, so, we're paying for him this time, too. But, I mean, Disneyland owes us with our honesty. Okay. You're high.
So Cinco de Mayo was fun. We live in LA. Cinco de Mayo is a pretty big deal. I mean, different cities have their holidays. Like if you're in New Orleans, obviously you got Mardi Gras. If you're in Boston, you've got the Marathon Day. If you're in New York, you got the St. Patrick's Day Parade or the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Those are big. In LA, Cinco de Mayo is the big day, and it's fun. People go to bars, and there's a lot of Mexican music and drinks and food, and so we just stayed at home, but it was me, Erin, and JoJo, and we got some tequila, and we gave her a Mexican tequila drink with her dinner, which she was very excited about. And we played Selena, and she started dancing, and then we all started dancing, And it was just really fun. And then we had this great Mexican dinner. And then we sat around and talked for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Just like had some laughs and hung out. It was just a great fun. It's just fun to think that like, because when Owen left for college, I was like, this is going to be fucking awkward because she's the quiet one at the table and he's more of like, he drives the conversation. So I was worried that it would be kind of like too mellow, but she's stepped up her game at dinner. And she's a talker now. We get into a lot of good talks, and we talk about life. And she gets very opinionated, and it is funny because she's very woke. You know, her generation is really woke, and so there's stuff you really got to kind of hold your tongue because you want her to just have her views, enjoy being opinionated for a little while. She'll get I try to challenge her a little bit, but gently.
Right.
Yeah.
Does she roll her eyes or correct you?
Yeah, she corrects me.
Like over what kind of stuff?
Well, she knows I'm a comedian, so she gives me a pretty wide berth, and she laughs. She likes laughing at off-color stuff. But then there's times where I think that she thinks that we are not as racially woke as she is because she goes to a school that's very mixed. She always has.
Right.
And so, but so did I, up until high school. I went to very mixed schools. High school wasn't very mixed, but I think she judges us as being a little bit. I think we don't have a lot of it. I don't think we have a lot of diversity in our friends right now. I think we're pretty white.
Are you opening it up to more diverse friends? Because maybe you could get some applications.
I have black friends. I could try to escalate or elevate the relationships.
Do it.
Do you think they'll know?
Only if you're super obvious and awkward about it.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe. I don't know. I think that all younger generations think their parents are not as woke. And they're probably right.
Yeah.
Probably right.
All right, what was your high?
My high. Can I tell you, though, I had an epiphany about those horrible, horrible cunts in the moms group. I had a little bit... I am happy to say I'm no longer reading it all the time and I'm no longer obsessed with it. And I had a small, epiphany's too strong, but I was thinking about how horrible, and I realize this is real snaky seal of me, but I was thinking about how horrible the last 4 years are and how nakedly people were just being white supremacists the last 4 years and being awful to black and brown people I think that awfulness was always there, but it was more, it was like more emboldened. And I was thinking in the face of all that, the fact that there's just a private pile of cunts who are trying their best in their clumsy, distorted way to combat that is maybe not the worst thing. I think they're going about it in a really ham-fisted,
self-righteous,
and self-sabotaging way.
Yeah.
But I would rather watch someone be a horrible just a vicious, cruel person. No, actually I wouldn't, but I mean, at least it's like a little closer to the right side of things than someone being, horribly bigoted and prejudiced.
Yeah.
There's nuance to it. At the same time, they're awful.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with movements is that they splinter and you have different groups all broaching the same goal in different ways. And so you look at what happened to the women's movement back. There was this great show called Mrs. America. Did you see that?
No, but I remember hearing about it, about Phyllis Schlafly.
Yeah, but it focused also on the Bella Abzug and Gloria Steinem and the women's movement and how that splintered. And there was this black senator who, wanted to handle things differently and how the white group kind of co-opted the movement and women's rights really became about white women's rights.
Yeah.
And then even within that you had, well, what about the lesbians? Well, we don't want the lesbians to be the figurehead of this because that's going to turn off middle America. And so you kept seeing it getting, postmodern feminists came in and they had different takes on it.
Right.
And it's very difficult. And the Republicans have been much better about staying on point and being unified on their message. And the Democrats always flounder because there's too many voices and they're not disciplined and they're not taking their marching orders from one person. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know which way. I know one way is more effective. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. It's too bad. So my high, Owen is starting preschool in September, and I don't know if all preschools do this. I think they do. They have a class for the incoming students that meets once a week to kind of get them used to the school and get them used to each other. So that started. So I took him yesterday for his first session at the preschool. And are you frozen, or is this just? I knew you've mentioned that Zach Galifianakis asked you, so I even was aware. I was aware that this might just be your resting face, and even then, I wasn't sure.
As you were talking, I was listening to every word, but I was also thinking about how I'm crashing on Ritalin and how my energy is so off, and I was sitting there frozen. I'm back.
I have to tell you, I think you're doing a great job, and I think this is going to be a good show. I really think the listeners are going to enjoy this one. I just couldn't tell from your face whether you were still here or not.
Wow. Yeah, you thought I was frozen. All right, I'm here. I'm going to acknowledge and I'm going to reaffirm as you speak.
Thank you. You don't have to go crazy with the nodding.
Okay.
I find sometimes having to nod and go is tiring in and of itself, and you need to conserve your energy for when you have to do your low. So anyway, took Elliot to the preschool for the very first toddler class, and it was really okay. The manic nodding. It was really the first time either of us have been out and among people in a long time. And it was both wonderful and exhausting. Owen doesn't have a lot of experience around other kids. He was mostly fascinated with other people's water cups, and I had to keep pulling him away. And then also we do this, they have this thing called circle time where you sit in a big socially distanced circle and they sing songs. He started out on my lap, and then there was a woman 8 feet away. No, maybe 6 feet away, who had a granola bar in a wrapper and water in front of her. So we're all singing, and then Owen stands up in front of me and starts doing this little dance from side to side. And then slowly over the course of 2 songs begins just getting closer and closer and closer to that granola bar until even the teachers, everyone was amused by it, but you could tell he thought no one's going to notice. He was so close to swiping it, and then I had to reach down and I pulled him back to 0.0. But then they brought out snacks. So yeah, it was really fun. But my low within the high, it was so hot yesterday, and there is something about the feeling of a sweat mustache forming underneath a mask that makes me want to die.
Yeah.
So uncomfortable. And then also I don't know how much crotch sweat is normal, but I feel like I'm really pumping out a lot these days.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe a hand towel or a sponge or something down there?
Just leaving it in there?
Just leave it in there like a tampon, like a maxi pad.
I don't know. Maybe no, you know what? I was going to say, since everyone knows my grooming situation, maybe is this a full bush problem?
I think it's a bush problem. I think going into the summer, you want to take that down a little bit.
Right. You see people who shave their cats into a lion cut or something.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to go to a poodle trimmer and get some special summer grooming happening.
You mean walk into the pet groomer and just present it and say, what can you do with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like a couple pom-poms.
Uh-huh.
And whatever fancy thing you do on the tail, I want that. I just want them to carve a poodle into my
do they put a little ribbon in your dog when they're done? Yeah.
And a flea dip. Why not?
Yes. And maybe one of those car freshener, the pine tree car freshener.
Yes.
Stick one of those on there.
Yes. I could those ones that it's like shaped like a dollar bill and
Yeah.
it's new car smell?
You're right.
Maybe that.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I like? Because as my husband says, you're attracted to douchebags. I like the smell of Drakkar.
Yeah,
And
I do
sometimes
too.
you can get an air. It smells good.
Yeah.
Why
Yep.
is it such a douchebag scent? And you can get an air freshener in that. So maybe that's what I'll get.
You know what I just realized with the internet? You can get everything. Like my instinct was just now, and I'm not making this up. I have to Google Drakkar because I can't remember exactly what it smells like. I know it's got a musky smell, and
It has like a fresh smell.
I thought that you could smell on the internet. That's the next step. That's going to be the next step with the internet.
It really is. I am here for it, as young people say, or at one point said. I would like some kind of chip that like just releases different odors.
Yeah.
What was your low, Greg? Are you gonna blow my low out of the water?
Not at all. My low was we have a back stairway that goes outside the house to the second floor, and it is covered with like a fiberglass and then painted because underneath it is where we store the bikes. And so it can't just be open stairs. They have to be kind of protected. And we built it probably 15 years ago, 12 years ago, and it had cracks in it and the wood was rotting underneath. So we had to pull up all the fiberglass and put down new concrete, more fiberglass on top.
The whole thing.
Yeah. And the guy gave me an estimate of $5,400.
Oh wow.
And I talked him down to 45, and his estimate said 8 days of labor plus materials. And I just thought, this doesn't seem like that big of a job. That seemed, because this guy's worked for us for a while at radio. Great dude. I think he does amazing work. I'm always happy with the things he does. And, but I really feel like lately his prices have been going through the roof. And I thought I feel very, very taken advantage of. And so he did the job. It didn't take 8 days. It took 3 days.
Oh.
And so I said to him, I go, I want to see your receipt, because he said $1,800 in materials. I go, I want to see the receipt for the materials. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be the douchebag that like is fighting over money, but $4,500 is a lot of fucking money, especially this year when I'm not working.
I feel like, here, I'm going to offer you unsolicited advice. I feel like if the vibe is money is tight, this past year has not been great, could I see the receipts? I feel like that's acceptable. It's different than like, I feel like you're cheating me. Can I see the receipts to see if you lied to me? You know?
Right.
So.
Yeah. So that was my low.
How did he take it when you asked to see the receipts?
He was fine with it, but then when he finished and he came to get them in, I go, do you have the receipts? He goes, oh, I have to get them from the other guy. Oh, that's the other thing. There was 2 other guys working on it. He didn't even work on it. He was on another job.
Oh, yeah. So you had like porn star Willie.
Who?
Porn star Willie. Remember the guy, the dumb, attractive guy who you saw walking around my house?
Oh, yeah. He
was just like a worker. Because, Ray was gone.
Yeah.
And we decided that he should be in porn.
Yes.
But he should be in porn, but he should not be in construction. That was the problem with Willie.
He can play any character in porn except a construction worker. He can be a pool cleaner. Yeah.
Pizza delivery guy.
Sure.
I feel like he could even be like your boss that needs to see those reports. It could be anything, just nothing that involves building anything.
It sounds like you've played him out in a few characters in your head.
No, I can't. That was off the cuff.
Really? It seemed like you're a little bit like well thought out.
No. I just thought of that chapter 7. Anyway. Okay. So I have a question.
Yeah.
A comment and a question. My understanding though is that when they have to pour concrete, that is just, for some reason, it's just expensive to start with, no matter what. And then this is a staircase that goes outside of your house to like an enclosure under your house?
No, it goes to upstairs.
Oh,
the floor upstairs. Yeah.
Oh, I see. But why is it an outside? Why is it an outside staircase that goes upstairs?
Because that's the rental unit out back. We have a rental unit. We have a duplex in the back, and we have the first floor of it, and then the upstairs is a rental. So that's how they get into their unit.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
So and JoJo lives in the downstairs?
In the downstairs. There's
There's
an apartment downstairs, like a studio apartment, and then a bonus room with a bathroom and storage. It used to be,
and you have a tenant.
and then the tenant is upstairs.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Milo. Now, I hesitate to say this because I feel that with all my discussion of the insects we find in our bathroom and also sometimes my studio, people are going to think that I live in squalor. And I don't. It is a very nice, new, up-to-date house that currently has millipedes in the bathroom. Millipedes, Greg.
Jesus. Oh, that's so gross. I hate millipedes.
I actually, of all the pests, like mice, cockroaches, those fucking grubs we found in our shower, I find the millipedes to be a little more tolerable because it's like, oh, I'm just like a skinny caterpillar moving very slowly, and I almost have a cute head with little antenna. So I have, ants I can't stand. I have found it more tolerable at the same time. Why are there millipedes in our bathroom? Why? Where are they coming from? And I called an exterminator. I have a listener, a longtime listener, who is an exterminator, and I talked to him. Demian, if you're listening, thank you for your advice. However, he told me something to buy to sprinkle under the crawl space, and Daniel's like, I'm not going under the crawl space. So unfortunately, we're going to have to bring in a professional. So I called an exterminator, and the woman who answered the phone was like, when I said millipedes in the bathroom, I expected her to say something like, oh yeah, it's millipede season or something. But she's like, oh, wow, that's a new one.
Oh,
that
no.
Didn't make me feel great.
Yeah.
So we're going to have an exterminator come out. But, I just don't understand why this is happening.
You want me to send a radio out there?
Yes. How much will he charge?
$4,500 for millipedes.
Great.
I mean, that does sound like a lot. Does this $4,500 sound like a lot of money for a 3-day job?
It's a lot of money. Where does the fiberglass go?
Well, the steps are wooden, and then there's concrete gets put on top of the wood, and then there's fiberglass on top of that seals it.
So each step is coated in fiberglass.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, it sounds expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
For 3 days. I don't know. How many work dudes? I don't know.
Two dudes. Not a foreman. Not the main dude.
Right.
I don't know that much. That's the worst thing is when you don't really know what something should cost.
It sounds like a lot. Like I said, my understanding is once they're pouring concrete, you're in for a few thousand.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But I don't know. Yeah. I think it's fine to ask for receipts and to ask for an explanation of the price.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
All right, let's do some mail.
Let's do it.
You wrote.
Okay, this comes from Ashley. She says, nanny ghosting is a total thing. Who would have thought the Facebook group would be so unsupportive? However, I feel like I've heard your story 1,000 times. Seriously, if you had thrown this out to a group of people experienced with nannies, you would have heard so many stories similar to yours. Sorry you and your family have suffered over the situation. Hopefully you can come to a point where you don't take it personally. Your fan, Ashley.
Thank you. Thank you. I've lost my voice. And thank you very much for writing in and saying that. Those women are awful. And we have suffered mightily.
Brianna says, I was listening to your April 28th episode and heard the story about Dax Shepard talking to his kids about his sobriety. My parents met in AA. They are both alcoholics and have been sober for about 40 years. I don't remember my parents sitting me down and telling me they were alcoholics, but I always knew. They were both very open about it. My sister and I went to AA meetings with them, especially when my dad was having a sober birthday. He liked it when we were there because his kids were a big reason why he got and stayed sober. I appreciate their honesty about it. Feel free to share. I love you both, Brianna. Yeah, I think it's you don't want to be heavy-handed about it, but I think it's like my kids are very aware that I had a problem with drinking, and they know that my father was an alcoholic, and so they I think are more aware with their drinking that it could go down that road, and so I think they're probably more cautious with their drinking, having known what's in their DNA.
Mm-hmm. I agree that you should be open with your kids about it.
Okay.
Great.
One more. I listened to your latest podcast. My kids are 16 and 18. I was the primary stay-at-home parent and was very matter-of-fact about death with them. I simply told them when the subject came up that everybody gets to live and everybody gets to die. No drama or further discussion. That seemed to satisfy and introduce the concept to them. Later, as they aged, we just kept with the same concept and made sure to explain that we would miss them when they were gone, and that is why we should appreciate them while we are together. David.
You'd miss the kids when they're gone?
Yeah, it sounds like he's telling his kids they're going to die.
I know. I think he means miss people who die when they're gone. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people wrote in with helpful things about regarding explaining death to your kids, because I had said that I'm nervous about talking about it with Elliot. Again, I don't intend to hide death or anything from him. I just feel like there's going to come a point where he on his own is going to be curious and is going to ask, and I would rather wait till that happens than have him introduced to it earlier than he's really wondering about it.
Right. I mean, I guess
I do feel like it'll be soon.
There's a lot of movies that bring up death. I mean, there's every goddamn Disney movie, somebody dies. So it gives them some entry. And then, you get like a goldfish or something that's going to die. That lets them experience it a little bit.
Yeah.
And you work your way up to grandpa.
That makes it sound like you start with a goldfish, then you get a dog, eventually you have a cow, and then a horse, and then grandpa.
Yeah. And why are we flushing grandpa down the toilet?
How did you even get a net that big? Do you want to do voicemails?
Why don't we do one, because it ties into our last email. Let's do the one from Rebecca.
You rang.
Hi, Allison and Greg. This is Rebecca in California. Love the show. I do not have kids of my own, but I just wanted to call in because I know Allison keeps worrying about how to talk about death with her kids, and I just wanted to kind of mention my own experience with that when I was a child. I'm 31 now, but when I was really young, when I was 1, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer. And then it came back when I was 4, and she battled it for 4 years before dying when I was 8, which is sad. But my parents were super honest with me through the whole thing. I don't really remember not being talked to about the chance of my mother passing away and what would happen. And they kind of taught me the whole, she'll die and go to heaven, because my family brought me up in the Christian faith. But even as an agnostic person now, I think the best policy is really just to be honest with your kids about it when they start asking questions, because obviously that's a big tragedy that I experienced in my life, but I turned out pretty well adjusted, I think. And my therapist even told me in my 20s that I am excellent at dealing with grief when I was dealing with another loss of a family member who had committed suicide. But my parents were super honest the whole time, and I really think it can be scary to talk to your kids about that stuff, but as somebody who went through one of the shittiest things I think that can happen, losing your mother and watching her die as a child, the fact that they were so open and honest about it really made it easier to deal with, both as a kid and, as an adult. I'm still grappling with that kind of stuff now. So, I don't know. I just wanted to give them my 2 cents, and kind of having been forced to deal with it at a very, very young age, but my parents' honesty really just made it all the better. So I hope you guys don't have to deal with anything like that. But